Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Otman Oustadi Show, where we sit down with individuals that don't just talk about purpose, they live it. Today's guest is not just a fighter, he's a man on a mission, a rising warrior making his mark in the global stage. After 3 MMA amateur Canadian champion titles, he stepped into the world of professional MMA and quickly made his presence felt, earning his place under the Professional Fighter League, also known as PFL. With a professional record of 5 wins and 1 loss, his journey hasn't just been about dominance. It's been about resilience, evolution, and proving himself against the competition. Taha, the Atlas Lion Bendaoud. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, brother.
How are you?
Very happy. I'm very good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. How's life?
Alhamdulillah. all
Life is
good.
great with steak.
Fantastic.
It's very
We-
unusual for a
we
podcast.
thought to
but
do it.
great.
We thought to do a bit different today. We met yesterday for the first time. We went training with Lion, your coach.
Lionel
Lionel.
Picard. Right.
What a great guy.
Great guy.
He's a glory fighter. He fought in glory kickboxing, isn't it?
Fought in glory. He did full contact kickboxing. He's an 11-time world champion.
Mashallah.
And what's impressive actually about him is that he won 4 world titles after being 45.
Wow.
So it's an inspiration to train with him every day. And you saw how intense the training was yesterday, and he was keeping up with us even
Mashallah.
better than us. You know?
How old is he now?
He's 49, I guess. Yeah.
Wow. I would have never thought. I thought it was maybe 30, 35 or something.
Yeah,
like
he
that.
looks young for his age.
Fantastic. Let's do a step back real quick. How we met. We have a friend in common. His name is Hamid, which happened to join us today. Hamid Acharrab, which is a personal growth coach. It helps individuals exceed and become the best version of themselves. We met in Bali approximately a year ago, and ever since you became a great friend. Nice
Alhamdulillah. Nice.
to see you, my bro.
Thanks for inviting me here, man.
Pleasure having you
So-
here.
It's very coincidental how we all met, right?
Fantastic. A couple of days ago, we had dinner together.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm in Marrakesh for a couple of days, I wanted someone to train with, and you happened to introduce me to an MMA fighter.
It was funny because we were. He just arrived in Morocco and wanted to meet up. I said, "Come, I'm having dinner with my family and friends." And one of my friends who's sitting next to me, he's a personal trainer, so he made the joke. He said, "What is it with you? You're always attracting all these fighter types." That's what made me like think of you.
Right.
And I said, "Yeah, you know what happened recently? There was this guy that lives in the same blocks that we live, and he's also an MMA fighter. So there's something about what you're saying."
Exactly.
Then he said, "Yeah, but that's a coincidence because I'm looking for someone to train with." So I hooked you guys up.
It's been a lot of
Mashallah.
coincidences. I remember how I met Hamid, and I met him at Beam the first time. And we just saw each other, and I look at him and I'm like, I know this guy because I've been following him on social media. I think I've been following Ruslan, and I've been seeing their retreats together. I've been looking at his content, and then I saw him, and I looked at my wife. I'm like, I think I know this guy, but I know him. But give me a second. It took me maybe like a few seconds, and I was like, I know exactly who he is. I went straight, and then I texted him, and he's like, "Were you at BIM?" I'm like, "Okay."
Fantastic.
So
And even
it's
when
amazing.
I texted you, I saw that I messaged you in 2019. I have
Right.
no idea. Yeah,
Right, I saw
listen-
the message from 2019.
Mashallah. What about some nonsense business that I started at the time?
Exactly.
No.
It's how the world works sometimes. It's
Fantastic.
alhamdulillah, it's good.
Fantastic. That's great. How
The
long?
funny thing is, and then we wanted to hook up to have some coffee or something.
Right.
It just didn't go through. And then one day he was walking in the
All
golf
right, I
yard.
was just walking. I came home and I wanted to go for a walk, and it was like the only day that I had to go for a walk because I couldn't go home. My wife was doing something inside, so she needed some privacy. So I was like, okay, let me go for a walk. As soon as I go for a walk, I see Hamid walking, and I'm like, amazing. That's
And then we ran into each other and we have a conversation, and then we were talking about Ruslan.
right.
And then exactly at that moment, Ruslan is calling.
He's
me.
calling.
Oh, beautiful. What a small place. The word is. Fantastic. Let's get into it. Taha. Who is Taha before he became a fighter?
Taha is always Taha, as a fighter or without a fighter, I guess. But I grew up in Morocco. I grew up here. I started martial arts when I was 3 years old doing karate. So that was my first experience with martial arts. And I kept doing martial arts until I was 18, 19. And that was the moment where I was like, I think I want to be a professional fighter. And mainly I was always a fan of the game. I was always watching kickboxing, Muay Thai. I was a big fan of Badr Hari, which is the big name that inspired most of young fighters here in Morocco. And I was fortunate to meet him a few times when I was growing up in Kenitra, because he used to come back there like many times. And yeah, by the time I was 19, I went to Canada to finish my studies. And even how I went to Canada, it was kind of a coincidence, because I watched this video, and it was a video of TriStar Gym, of these guys training, going to the dorms and everything. And I was like, I want to be there. I want to do this, you know? So right away, I just start doing everything to go there. I finished my studies there. And as soon as I got there, I already had a fight booked. That's when the adventure started. And I started fighting in Canada amateur.
And it all started everything happened in Canada, fighting wise. You didn't start in Morocco before you moved into Canada.
I did some fights in Morocco as well, but it was amateur, and it was some galas. But mainly, most of the fights I did were in Canada. I did Muay Thai fights in Canada. I did some Jiu-Jitsu tournaments and MMA, the MMA amateur fights as well.
Fantastic. Okay, and your base is Muay Thai?
My base is Muay Thai, yes.
Fantastic. And how do you become an MMA fighter? Then you went into jiu-jitsu, or how do you become?
So how
an
it
MMA?
started, when I was around 14, 15, there was some guys. I was living in Kenitra here in Morocco, and there was a few guys who were training MMA. But back then we used to call it free fight. So it was this guy who went to the States, came back, and he was just training guys at a small gym. It was not as organized as how MMA is now, but that was my first introduction to some grappling, some jiu-jitsu. And by the time I got to Canada, I started doing jiu-jitsu, like with a Brazilian guy, and then I started doing wrestling, and I've been doing it since then. So by now, I guess there's a lot of people that say I'm even better on the ground than I'm standing up. So you just need to love both sides of the game, so you're not stuck in one.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's accurate, because I happened to see two fights randomly, and both of them you ended them with the
With the
yeah.
triangle choke.
Yes,
right?
you did. Randomly.
It's pretty funny that most of my finishes are by triangle choke, and it's not my base, but it's kind of happened in amateur. I used to fight, and they used to come in kind of scared of the striking. So most guys, they try to take me down. When they take me down, I finish up with the submission. So just kept going on like that. And I'm like, guys, can you just fight with me a little bit more?
Fantastic.
But, yeah.
You fight for an organization called Professional Fighter League. Can you tell me a bit more about it? What is it? How
Yes,
does it work?
PFL is ranked now the second organization in MMA after the UFC. Basically, it started as WSOF, World Series of Fighting, and they started with some great fighters, like starting the promotion. And what's special about it is that they had tournaments. So they had a style that is different from UFC. They started with a tournament where fighters are gonna fight. They're gonna have points, and then you have fighters that get to the semifinal, then the finals, and then you have a prize at the end. So that's the format that they started with. Now it gets more aligned to how the UFC is working. So they have they're not doing the big tournaments anymore. The only tournaments that is going on right now is the one I'm doing, is the MENA tournament. And MENA tournament, they're taking fighters from North Africa and the Middle East. So the best fighters in each division, and they take one champion at the end. It's 3 fights.
Okay. Why only North Africa and Middle East? What about the rest of the world? How does...
There is actually PFL Europe, which is a tournament for Europe, but I think now they only kept MENA and maybe Africa, or even Africa, they took it off for the
Okay,
tournaments.
but-
But before it was Africa, MENA, which is Middle East and North Africa. They had Europe, I think they had some other part of the world as well. So they're trying to have a champion in each region of the world.
Interesting, but I'm so confused. Morocco is in Africa. Middle East is Asia. Why is... Why
It's
not-
because North Africa we speak Arabic, and
Mm.
Middle East we speak Arabic. So it's basically for Arab fighters in a way.
Mm.
That's why they always put the Middle East with North Africa. It's like the MENA region. So they
Interesting.
count the whole
Interesting.
from Morocco to the
Interesting.
Middle East.
But are you able to also fight in the African...
Right.
Why?
That's the thing. That's the
Yeah.
thing about being a Moroccan, is that we can fight in the Africa, and we can also fight in the MENA.
Interesting.
Same with other promotions. There are other promotions that do the same format for an African events and an event for Arab fighters, and you can fight in both.
Fantastic. That's very interesting.
It's like the soccer team. They can participate in the Africa Cup, but also in the Arab
In
Cup.
the Arab Cup, right?
Really? You
Mhm.
can do that? I don't really watch football like that. I didn't know that.
They won the Arab Cup, right? And also won
Yeah,
Oh, amazing.
African Cup.
African Cup after 2 months.
After 2 months, that was a funny one.
Won or lost? I don't know. Anyway, what class do you compete in?
The weight class.
Yeah.
Right now, I compete in featherweight, which is 66 kilos. I used to compete in bantamweight, which is 61. I had my first fights, professional fights in bantamweight, but it's been 3 fights now that I'm doing 66. I feel more comfortable doing this weight.
And off
This weight
season,
cut.
off season typically how much do you weigh?
I usually, like right now, I'm 72 kilos max. Like before, I could get to 76, 77. But right now, I try to keep it at least at 70 kilos is an ideal weight for me to only have 4 kilos to cut by the
Okay.
time of the fight.
And is that the most you went up?
No, actually, I went up way more. Like throughout these last years, I even have times where I got up to up 90s. Not
90s?
training, but that's
90s and then 90s, and then how do you get ready to a fight? You need to take off 30 kilos.
right.
And how long do you have to do that? How?
For example, when I was that weight, it took me, I think, a little bit more because I was sick as well, so I needed to heal up and then lose the weight. But usually for 30 kilos, you need at least 6 months to lose it well. You know, what we do is that we do a weight cut, and for a weight cut is different because we're not losing weight; we're losing water weight. So for a weight cut, you can even have 7, 8 kilos to lose on the same week, and you would be able
one
to do
week?
it. Right. There's even people that go up to maybe 10 kilos
In
a
1 week?
In 1 week.
People struggle to lose 1 kilo in 2 years, and you lose 10 kilos.
It's different because it's water weight.
Okay.
Because what we do is that I'll give you like an example. You start your week and I'm at, let's say, 70 kilos. And this happened to me before, where I start my week of the fight and I'm at 70 kilos and I have to be 61 by Friday morning. So you have to manipulate your weight way before. We start like usually 10 days before. And we start with a protocol that is called it's called water loading. So you start drinking a lot of water. So your body gets used to that water, like going into your body. And gradually you start taking the water down until the day of the fight. And there are many other ways, like you can use diuretics. You need to stop the carbs usually 3 days or 4 days before, depending on the protocol you're using. And so there's a whole manipulation of the weight. And by the last day, that's the day of the weight cut. That's when you see fighters going to the sauna. That's when you see fighters in the baths. So we're literally dehydrating ourselves. So you would even put like a sauna suit and start running, and you can lose 3-4 kilos in maybe 30 minutes, like running actually, of water. And then the danger about it is that you're dehydrated and you have to fight the next day.
Yeah. So my question is, how is that health-wise? It doesn't sound very healthy.
Healthy
It's
and
not.
mentally as well.
It's actually not healthy. It's not healthy at all. That's why it's very important to do it the best way possible. You know, you need to do it the best way possible. You need to have someone who knows exactly what you're doing, and you need to manage your weight perfectly, because by the time you get to that exact weight, like trust me, most fighters, they cannot even go more. So they usually arrive straight to the weight they need to be at, and they stop, because for your health, your liver is not doing right, your mind is not doing right. You feel like you're stranded in a desert for a week without water. Like many times, every time I'm cutting weight, I have no more water in my mouth. I have no more water anywhere to cut, and you can see it. But I guess that's the danger that we go through as fighters. Even the Muay Thai fighters, MMA fighters, MMA is a little bit more intense for the weight cut, but it's dangerous. And then as soon as you make the weight, you need to rehydrate. So you need to have a very good protocol to rehydrate and rest, because you have 24 hours and then you get to fight.
Protocol. Like you can't just drink water?
No, if you drink water, it's not even gonna go through your body.
Okay.
I had many times where after the weight cut, I will drink water and I'll just throw it right back out.
And how would you hydrate?
Like usually you need to make a drink with electrolytes. Usually it's a mix between coconut water, electrolytes. It depends on each person, like does it their way. But it has to be very precise, and the timing of it has to be very precise. It means you're not gonna just start eating right away after making weight, because your body is like tired. You cannot even put food inside. So you start with the electrolytes. You need to put the salts back into your body, then hydrate it, and then you have to start eating. And when you eat, it's mainly carbs, because the carbs hold on to the water, and you're dehydrated, so you need it. So you go on eating small meals of carbs throughout that day, and a lot of salt as well, so the water is absorbed. It's a
Interesting.
whole.
I had a friend of mine, a personal trainer friend of mine, tell me about electrolytes, that it's mostly a myth. That if you have a good sea salt with water, that's actually the
Totally
same or even better than
I
having
totally
electrolytes.
agree. I totally agree. And even I don't actually use electrolytes. When I said electrolytes, usually it's salt.
Yeah.
Usually it's sea salt, and you can put some BCAA or something in it because it's gonna help out. But the best electrolytes are salt. And I even seen some brands right now. They will just do dates and salt, and they will sell it as electrolyte, and it's much better than all the chemical things inside of it.
Do fighters pull out because of this?
Absolutely, many.
Okay.
Many
Does it
times
happen
you will
often?
have, yeah, many times. Even actually, it happened to me that I missed weight. I have a story about this. It's funny talking about weight cut when I have a
Mistake.
when I have a steak actually out here. But I had my first fight that I was supposed to fight for the PFL. I remember that they called me. And they were like, "Okay, we have a really good opportunity for you as the main event for the tournament, fighting for the first part of the tournament for 100,000." And at that time, I remember I was not training. Uh, I was even like I had a problem. I had a health problem, so I was overweight. I was maybe 80 something kilos. I was going around hospitals, doctors, like right 2 months before, I just like felt good. They call me, they're like, "Okay, do you want to fight for the PFL main event?" I'm like, "Let's go." I want it, because when you're in a point in your life where you need to make a change and you have an opportunity that comes like this, I just didn't feel like I can say no to it, because I had to get back into training. I had to get back into doing something good, like to get myself back together. So I was like, okay. But I had a month and something back, and I had maybe 12, 13 kilos to lose it. And I did my best to lose it. I was forcing myself to train, not eating. I lost as much as I could. But by the time I got there, I still had, I think, 9 kilos at the end that I had to cut as a water cut. And I did the whole weight cut. I did the sauna. I did the ice bath. I did the bath. I did everything, and I still missed out by 1 kilo.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 kilo won't let you go
One
through.
kilo. It was really tough, because I remember it was me and my coach. I did the sauna to the max that I couldn't even sweat anymore. And by the end of it, I remember my coach put me in the shower. He's like, "I know this technique." So we put the sauna suit, and I was in the shower, and he was putting hot water on me. We put like towels on top of me, and he was putting hot water. So it was heating up the space. But still, we did this for like 30 minutes. Then he puts me in the towels inside. Nothing.
Wow.
Like, I arrived to that moment where nothing is coming out of your body, no matter how you sit in the sauna, but the water is not coming out of your body. So.
Oh wow. My question was, as in somebody made weight, however, because of the struggle on making weight, he's unable to fight. That was my question.
This as well.
Yeah?
There's many fighters who will make weight, and then by the next day they will end up in the hospital at night. So as soon as you try to eat or something, you can have problems. You can have gastro problems. You can have many problems that can happen after a weight cut, and it happens like always.
Fantastic.
This
I
sport.
see. And when a fighter puts out, does the opponent still get paid, or
This
does he
actually
get the win? How does it work?
this it depends on the organization, because there's some organizations who will still pay you even if you didn't fight. But usually, for the purse, it's always you have your base, and then you have an extra if you win, which is the same. So you will double your pay. Let's say you're making 10, you'll make 10,000 to fight, and you'll make another extra 10,000 to win. If you don't fight, for sure they're not gonna give you the bonus that you need to do, but most likely they can still pay for your base.
I see. Interesting. How many times a day do you train?
Twice.
Twice.
Sometimes if I don't have time, I'll only train once, but usually it's twice.
Every single day.
Right. I have a day off.
A day off. Interesting. And have you ever trained with top level athletes, UFC
Actually,
fighters, and
they train with most of them.
most of them?
Most of them.
Like who, if you
I
don't
had a
mind?
good. I went to the UFC PI. I lived in Vegas for almost a year and a half. So I was training in the UFC PI with most UFC fighters. All fighters will come throughout the year, and I was training, for example, with Merab, which is the bantamweight champion. He's a Georgian. Do you know about him?
I've heard of him.
Merab,
Yeah.
right? I trained with Paulo Costa. I trained with Khabib team. I didn't train with Khabib personally, but I trained with his team. I was training at Syndicate MMA, which is one of the biggest gyms in Vegas. So we had like access to train with all these fighters. It was a great experience.
MashaAllah. Any drama going on in the gym when too many UFC fighters come across
There's
each
always
other?
drama. There's always drama.
Anything
Always drama
interesting?
sometimes. We had some dramas in the gym. I seen some guys fight.
No way.
Maybe Strickland will always fight sometimes in Extreme Couture. Kevin Holland, both of them fighting together.
Each
you know,
other.
fighting each other. in the
Wow.
gym.
And is this stuff already on YouTube, or is it like exclusive and no one ever?
I had the videos, but I couldn't post.
Oh, interesting. Oh, funny.
I had the videos, I couldn't.
Fantastic. You've been seen around with Dana White as well. Have you had ever conversation of joining UFC as well?
I had a quick conversation with him once, and I met him. Met him a few times. I would say hi, but I met him one time at a hotel where I was staying in Vegas, and we had this quick conversation. And I was like, "I'd love to be part of the UFC. I would love to see you soon." Didn't happen yet, but maybe very soon,
Inshallah.
inshallah.
And how important is the mindset when it comes to fighting at these levels?
The mindset is the most important thing, because the mindset is what's gonna allow you to train. The mindset is what's gonna allow you to progress. The mindset is gonna allow you to fight. And I feel like you can be the strongest fighter, you can be the most talented fighter. If you don't have the mindset to be a fighter, you're not gonna fight. You're not gonna be able to get in there, because it's not. We're not playing. It's not a game. Because most people, they talk about fighting. Yes, it's a sport, but I don't feel like it's a game. If you talk about soccer or any other sport, it's a game. You have rules, and it's a game that's been created by people. But fighting has been with us since the start of humanity. Like, it's the most natural thing that we can do. Like, people just fight. So if it's either you can fight or you can't, and for you to be able to fight, the mindset is the most important. So you have to build it, because throughout my career, I've seen that there are people that just have it. There are people that are born with that killer instinct, and there are people that just, they don't care. If you want to fight them, think they have something in their genes that allows them that. And there are other fighters that build it. There are fighters, they will build it with experience, with confidence, because the more you train, the more you become confident in yourself, the more your mindset is going to get better. So I guess it's the most important thing.
It's not about how big the dog is in the fight, but how big the fight is in the dog.
It makes sense. That's why I'm most fighter. They're like, I got the dog in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The eye of the tiger from Rocky, you have
Right.
to have the eye of the tiger.
You have to.
How important do you think for a man is to know how to fight, to train combat sports?
I think it's very important. I think it's not even like about important or not. I think that every man should know how to fight.
Essential.
I think it is essential, because just the fact of asking the question, many people would ask the question, do I need to know how to fight? I think this question, back in the time, people wouldn't ask this question, because everyone had to know how to fight, or you will die. You wouldn't be able to survive. Like, someone will just kill you, or you would go into a war and you will die. So you have to learn how to fight. And I think everyone should take their children to martial arts, any kind of martial arts, just to learn how to defend yourself, because it will give you so much more than competing or being a fighter. It will just make you a better man, more confident. And for me, someone who can fight wouldn't fight.
Interesting.
That's the most important thing about it.
Why do you say that? You don't fight outside of the cage?
I don't need to fight outside of the cage. Like, I always find ways to not get there, because when you know what you can do, like, you don't need to do it. And when you're doing it so much, you don't want to do it.
Makes sense.
And if you're able to hurt someone, you will make your best not to hurt them. You will I will tell them straight, look at me, please. Like, I don't want this,
And also, if someone has the aura of a warrior, you know, for people to pick a fight with them, they get less motivated to do that. Right?
100%. That's
It's actually most people feel it, and I think most fighter will actually agree is that anytime we have some confrontation, you know, but I'm not talking about the keyboard conversation on Instagram. These guys, they're undefeated. Even if you're a fighter, they will beat you. But when you meet someone and you have a confrontation with them and you're really confident in yourself and your ability, they could feel it. Just the way you would speak to them, the way they would feel that you're not afraid. And most people, when they feel someone that doesn't have no fear, they will just go away automatically.
I can tell you're very calm and collected. However, you're telling me you've never been in a situation where you had to fight outside?
I mean, I have been in many situations where I have to fight outside, and I think the last time I fought outside, it was trying to defend a friend of mine, you know, and it was a lot of people fighting at the same time, so I just had to help out. But me one on one, I had many times with people, but I always never ends up being a fight, you know.
So you rather just avoid it. And you also mentioned about the keyboard warriors, the people that hate online. How do you deal with hate?
I don't know, they're just both. Sometimes if seriously, if I feel like answering someone, I would just answer them. If I don't feel it, I don't feel it. It's not affecting me. It's just, I would see it and I would be like, okay. If I feel like answering you, I'm gonna answer you. I don't care. But it's just people sitting and giving their opinion, so it doesn't
Interesting.
matter.
After everything, why keep going? Like, why did you choose this path of becoming a MMA fighter? Why? Like, why do you want to put yourself through all this hard work and struggle, and why?
Sometimes I ask myself the same question. You know, I'm like, he's asking me the question and I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing it? I think I'm just doing it because it's the thing in my life that's kept me going. You know, it gave me so much that I cannot just stop it. And if I stop doing it for myself, I would help other people do it. Because just this experience that I had throughout all these years going, you know, I started here in Morocco. Like now we have a lot of fighters go and fight MMA. We have many MMA fighters. At that time, not a lot. You know, I started the first amateur in 2014. You could know who are the MMA fighters. You know, maybe you can have them in one or two hands. So I went through many things, and the sport always gave me this. I couldn't go through a bad road. Every time I go through a bad road, I will turn and be like, no, this is where I'm going. This is where I'm supposed to go. If I have a challenge, anything in my life, I would be like, okay, but I have this. I'm a fighter. I'm a champion. I was able to do this, you know? So it was just, it was like building something into my life, and I want to keep building it, you know? I want to keep learning. I want to keep getting better into it.
So it feels more like a calling than a choice.
Yeah, it's
Like
not a
you're
choice.
being called to that.
Absolutely. I don't feel like it's a choice, because everything, all the opportunities that I got, everything, how it comes, like everything is a calling in a way. Even if we say it's choice, what is choice? I don't think we have no choice in in this world. But
So that's why you don't really have an answer to why you're doing it, because when it's a choice, then you can have the answer
exactly,
that you made a choice.
totally agree.
When it's a calling, like you're being called to it, and you answer.
Exactly. It's the same, you know, it's moreover the same with everything. Like this podcast, for example, it was a calling.
Yeah.
He told me, let's do a podcast. I'm
He
like,
literally called you,
like,
right?
yeah, he literally called me.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
If someone, you know, sometimes there are things that you can feel that they are meant for you.
Yeah.
So you just do them, and I think this was my purpose. I think all of us have purposes in this life. We're made for a purpose. So it's not only my purpose, but it's one of my purpose, or a way to reach my purpose.
When you started your podcast, you said you have meaningful conversations with people that are on purpose, right? And that's what he's telling you, that he feels this is his purpose. And I have the same thing in my line of work. And I think for most people that are really unfulfilled in life, it comes from not having or knowing their purpose. I think big part of life is just finding out what your purpose is.
Sure.
And then living it. And when you finally find it out and you're living it, yeah, then you feel like life gives you you live a fulfilled life because you're on purpose.
But how do you think these people, because there's a lot of people, they would be asking this question for so long. what is my purpose?
Yeah.
I don't think I found my purpose.
I equate that most of the time to like climbing a mountain. You know, the purpose is when you're on top of the mountain and then you see the pathway. But when you're on the other side of the mountain still climbing, you don't see the pathway.
Right.
So you have to put in the effort to get on top. That will enable you to see the pathway. So in your life, you've had all these things that led you to this path, right?
Right.
If we were to go back in time and interview you in those moments, you wouldn't know what your purpose is. But you're having struggles that were preparing you for the purpose.
True.
Right? So in my life as well, I've had struggles that were preparing me for this purpose, but at that moment, I didn't know my purpose. But the preparation is like the climbing of the mountain, the struggles, the overcoming of the struggles. And then, if you look at a beautiful story of the Prophet Yusuf, alayhi salam, he had lots of struggles in all the stories of all the prophets. It's the struggles, and then the purpose. And then, looking back, you can, like Steve Jobs said, you can connect the dots looking backwards. Then if you look back on their life, then you see that all that happened was preparing them for their purpose.
So they were already in their purpose.
Because the one who gave them the purpose knows their purpose beforehand, and he's giving them the preparations. Like if you want to be a leader, you have to be good at, being a shepherd first, to know how to keep all the sheep together. Most of the prophets were shepherds. You have to have struggles in order to be able to lead people. You have to be tempted yourself to know how to resist temptation. Like if you look at the story of Yusuf, he had to deal with betrayal of his brothers, become a slave, be seduced, be imprisoned before he rose to power. But he couldn't have been the leader that he was if he didn't have all of the preparation beforehand.
But is the purpose, do you actually believe that the purpose is something that is higher? So it's when he was able to go through all these things, that's his purpose? Or a purpose could be anything in life, like anything you do, even in one day, you can have a purpose for that day.
Exactly.
Right.
You can have a purpose, small purpose, and a capital purpose. You can have, if you zoom out, your whole life could be one purpose. But if you zoom in, like this podcast could have its purpose.
Its own purpose.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
What's your purpose?
Bringing you together, guys.
Allah says, أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا. Did you think that we created you without purpose?
Without purpose.
Everyone has a purpose. Everyone is deliberately created for a specific purpose. Like, why do you have your hand? Your hand has a purpose, right? Every organ in your life has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْنَاهُ بِقَدَرٍ. Everything has a purpose.
But then it's like, I'll come back to my question, because I feel like many people that would ask, what is my purpose? Where is my purpose? Does it come from a place of control in a way that they want to see it to be able to say, okay, now I have a purpose, so I can. Because I feel like everyone has a purpose, even if you think about having a purpose or no.
Even if you don't know it, yeah.
You are always a tool of something.
Exactly.
Or someone.
But when someone wants to like uncover it for themselves, there could be different intentions there. But if the intention is control, like you said, that was your question, right? I don't think you will find your purpose through control, because it's not something you can control. It's something that you surrender to. It's not something you control.
However, your purpose can be found through experiencing things. You have to get out there, do stuff in order to find what you're good at. And as a consequence, that will become your purpose.
Yeah, if you look at, there's lots of books written about this, like Ikigai, to find the thing that you love to do, that you're good at, that people also are interested in. If you find the intersection of those circles, then you can find something that can become your purpose. But you have to test it out and to see if you get fulfillment out of it. But testing it out is not just trying it once. It's finding out, what are you interested in? Like if I would lock you up, like if, let's say you don't know your purpose, you don't know anything. I'd say if I'd lock you up for a month and you can only choose books or podcasts to listen to. You don't have internet. You don't have anything. You can only have books and podcasts or documentaries to watch for the whole month. You can't do anything else. What would be the subjects that you would choose books, podcasts, documentaries in?
Really good.
Then if I would ask anyone, they would say different things, right?
So that hints.
That hints at where, at least where your interest is. Now you can, like, you don't have one interest. Maybe you have 2, 3, 7, 8 different interests that really excite you. If you look at 7, 8 different interests and you would like list them, I'm interested in AI. I'm interested in technology. I'm also interested in mindset. I'm interested in psychology. I'm interested in health. You can have a stack of interests, right? And then you can say, okay, what are the top 3, 4 that I'm really interested in? And what is the intersection of those 3, 4? How can I stack those to create something unique that would really excite me? Now you have more than interest, right?
Sure.
And now when you start like really diving into that and making, investing time and energy to really know more about that specific stack, then you can test if it's only mere interest or it can become a passion. And when it becomes a passion, then purpose can lead from that. Like that's a little formula.
No, it's very organized. How it's very interesting because people, they would. I hear so many of my friends, so many people that I met throughout my life, and it's always a main subject that they're looking for what you do, either looking for a new job, looking for a new passion, or looking for new thing, and then it's challenging for them to just commit to one thing they love, even if sometimes I would meet someone and they would love to do like, like these guys are filming and they love to do it, but they wouldn't allow themselves to pursue something because of fear, because of maybe it's not gonna give them enough, they're not gonna survive doing that. And that's the thing, is that for me, for example, MMA, doing it as an amateur, you're not getting paid. You're literally doing something just for the love of it, and you're spending way more than actually what you're receiving. And even as a professional, and you still, it's not the best career to choose. If I wanted to make money, I wouldn't have done this.
Exactly.
Because I could have done so many different other things. And even sometimes I would ask myself, why did I do it? And I don't regret it. And I guess people should less control and more
I love what
trust.
Steve Jobs had to say about it. He said that you have to develop such a level of passion for something that you can cope up with all the obstacles. If the obstacles are bigger than the passion, then you will quit.
100%.
But if the passion is bigger than the obstacles, then you will keep at it until you become experienced enough. Like you said, you started out as an amateur. You wasn't making any money. The same thing with coaching. I had a very long time that I was actually coaching and helping people out for free. And then those people became successful, made a lot of money out of my advice. And I still wasn't charging anything for it. I was just helping out people. But I did that enough to find that I am actually really good at this. And I actually know how to really help people improve and then later even transform their lives. So now, after 28 years of doing it, I know where my passion and my purpose is exactly. But it took 28 years to get there. I didn't have that for the first 15 years. I knew it was an interest and it was a passion, but it wasn't something that would make me an authority in the industry.
I guess I have a question about it, because you said you were coaching for free, and I love this part because even like me as a fighter, I was fighting for free. You're getting punched for free.
Yeah.
I go back home, I'm hurt everywhere. Yeah. It's for free. I would train even people at the gym for free, and there's many people who wouldn't want to do things for free because they would be like, I have to charge for it, or they will help you out or do something, I have to charge for it.
It's a self-sabotage kind of thing. It's a way of losing the game before you start. If you really want to create something that is your purpose and you have this passion for it and you're you love your job, that it's not even a job anymore, if you want to get to that point, then obviously you have to invest in the journey. Like if you want to be a doctor, you know how long it takes before you're a doctor?
12, 13 years.
Yeah, but the 12, 13 years of education, you're paying for the education. You're not only not making money, you're paying for it. Now people get in fields that they don't know anything about. They want to become an authority in, and they want to make money from day one. That's not realistic. You have to you want to be good, go work for somebody that's doing that. Go work for free for them for a year. Learn, be a student. You have to be a student first before you can master things, and then before you can become a teacher.
And even when you teach people for free or when you train people for free, there is always a lesson there for you, because the more you teach it, the more you learn.
Of course.
Indirectly.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah,
whole
always.
purpose of it. Is you're a student at that moment.
100%. For example, if
Practice.
exactly, if you're teaching someone a move, the more you practice it, you will be noticing things that probably you've didn't notice before.
Always. Even in martial arts, actually, you would find out that many coaches, as soon as they become coaches, they become even better fighters. And because they've been training people so much, so they need to look at fighting from another scope. And they will actually become better technicians just because they're focusing on the basics so much every day. And by the end of it, after a few months of coaching, most coaches, they will be better fighters than even if you go through the traditional route of just training.
Amazing.
Yeah, whenever you're learning something, of course, you go through the 4 steps of learning anything, of competence. You start out unconsciously incompetent, like you don't know, but you don't know that you don't know. So you're excited, and then you have what they call beginner's luck because of your excitement. But then you find out that you actually don't know how to do it, right? Then you become consciously incompetent. That's where people lose motivation, and most people quit at the second stage.
Right.
But when people keep practicing, they get to the third stage. That's when they become consciously competent. So then they know how to do it, like riding the bike, but you have to be focused to be able to do it. Once you're like something gets your attention, then you fall off the bike or whatever. So that's the consciously competent part. But when you keep practicing, then you become unconsciously competent. Then it's automatic. Like it's a habit.
It's more like flow state.
It's flow state. It's you don't think about it. You just do it. You're competent.
It's like when you drive in the car.
Exactly. And you can drive the car and chew gum at the same time, But to become a coach, to become a teacher in the thing, you have to go one step beyond. You have to become conscious of the unconscious part.
Right.
So then you kind of like become unconsciously competent. Like then you see the things that you didn't normally see. That's why you said when someone becomes a coach, they even become an even better.
True.
So when I had a sales organization, and then I had my own sales team, and I was a sales manager. But when I was training people in sales, it made me even a better salesperson because I got to become conscious about the thing that I was unconscious about.
Just a different point of view, and
Different point of view.
you see everything differently. I think it's very interesting because you could use this in many aspects of life. You see, it works for fighters, it works in sales, it works in different areas. And I love the fact that we spoke about flow states because I've been in martial arts is very important. I feel like it's one of the most important things as a fighter, because fighting in that state is the ultimate goal of any fighter. Because no matter how you control your moves, if you're in a fight and you're still in your head, you're slow. Because if the other person is flowing, not thinking, they're always one step ahead. They're always faster. And speed in fighting is, if you have half of a second, like you're already winning. How do you think flow state how do you think a person is able to be in that state? Does it take only, do you think, practice, or it takes something else?
It takes practice, and the challenges are getting bigger and bigger in our day because there's so much distraction. Because you have to be indistractable. There's this great book, I recommend it to everyone to read it. It's called Indistractable. It's about deep work. It's about like Cal Newport's book, Deep Work, is also very good at this subject. you have to be focused on one thing for an amount of time before you get in the flow state. Like it's about 20 minutes of undistracted focus on something gets you in the flow state. But most people don't even get to 20 minutes undistracted focus. Because nowadays, like you're distracted, like every minute you're distracted like 10 times. So we don't even get the opportunity to get into flow state. But when you're in flow state, you're like 500% more productive than you're outside of flow state. So like 1 day in flow state is better than 5 days out of flow state.
It's very hard to stay a full day in flow
It's
state.
very hard to stay a full day. But if you can be there 90 minutes in a day, then you will do more work than most people do in the whole day.
Yeah, that's right. And I feel like to be in this flow state, it doesn't only take like staying there for only 20 minutes, because even your body has to be able to handle that flow state.
Yeah.
Like, for example, what I realized is that the more in shape I am, the more I'm taking care of how I train, how I recover, how I rest. My nervous system is more calm. I'm going to be able to enter that state easier than if I'm not in shape. And if I'm doing, let's say, if I'm doing a practice and it's the first time I'm doing it, funny enough, if I'm doing something and I'm not really giving it any importance, I feel like it's easier for me to get into flow state. And I feel like the more I give importance to think or to a sparring, or the more I'm thinking, let's say I'm fighting someone in the gym, and if I put in my head that this person can have something that is better or he's stronger, it's going to be very hard because my mind is going to be active. But if it's just someone who walks through the door, I think is an amateur,
Yeah.
I'll go in there, I'll be like, okay, this guy is easy work. And even if he's good, I'll end up being like performing much better.
I think that goes, what you're saying now is the nail on the head. The nail on the head, right?
Right.
Hitting the nail on the head. It's in every profession. It's the same thing. Like if a speaker goes on stage and he's in his head, he's thinking about what will people think of me? Do I have the right clothes? If he's thinking about that, he will not perform. He will not have a great speech. He will not get into the flow state, right? But if he's not and he's just flowing, he will deliver much better speech and inspire everyone than when he's in his head, right?
100%. Even musicians. I went to this piano guy in Rabat last time, and the whole concert, I was looking at him and I'm like, how can he be such in a flow state in the whole time? And I think it's because they play it so many times and they've been playing it for so long. But the way he was playing the piano was truly impressive. I was looking at him and he was not even there. He would come back when he stops. Every time he stops and he looks at the audience, but as soon as his hand touched the piano, the person is like out of there.
It's in every profession. You know, what's the name of the Olympic champion swimmer?
Michael Phelps?
Yeah, Michael Phelps. Did you know that he broke his record one time, but he had water in his glasses, in his, how do you call that, in his goggles? He jumped in the water and then water was in there, so he couldn't see anything.
It's like, let's go.
And you know what he did? He closed his eyes because he used to train with his eyes closed. His trainer used to make him close his eyes, so in order for him to know exactly when he hit the wall and then to go back without even seeing it. So he had to close his eyes because he couldn't see at all. And he did it like all on the practice and the intuition, totally in flow state. And he broke the record and he won.
Wow. It's really impressive.
So, but if he would like open his eyes and be worried about it and try to fix the problem, he would lose. So yeah, flow state, I think everyone, whatever they're doing, being in flow state makes them much more effective in whatever they're doing. If you're writing, and how to do it is make sure you don't have distractions. Like in a fight, it's a little easier to not be distracted because you have an opponent on the other side who wants to kick your.
Actually, I've seen something about this, and they said that, you know, in a fight, it's kind of the ultimate presence, you know, experience.
Yeah,
because
it's like your life is on the line. If you don't focus on your opponent, then
getting punched.
Yeah, you're getting punched.
because you can meditate. You know, people would be like, I'm able to be present,
Yeah.
meditating.
Yeah.
But you're meditating, you're sitting there,
Yeah. If I'm writing my book
writing a book.
and I'm not in my flow state, the book's not going to come out of the computer and punch me
Punch me.
and break my nose or something. But your opponent will.
True.
So
And
you're forced to be focused.
I feel like it's very challenging because people don't like a lot of fighters, they don't focus on these aspects of the game, but it's very important because it could change your performance, because there are fighters who technically they wouldn't be able to change so much in a year or 2 or 3. Yes, you can become a better fighter, but I think that that's always what I've been trying to do, is that I like to go to aspects of fighting, because I will deconstruct fighting not only as throwing a punch and throwing a kick, but as many different things. In your body you can like become better in so many different ways, and if people can go specifically to one part that could make everything else work much better, the whole system work much better.
Definitely. And like I said, you can take this to any part. Like if you look at Salah, when you're praying and you're not in flow and you're not in the flow state, then your Salah is like your mind is all over the place. You're not.
You're not present.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not.
In Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah gives us the formula for success. He says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. So the ones that have khushu' in their prayer. That means that you can't have the khushu' without the focus, right? If you're praying and then you're thinking about all the things in your worldly life, where is the khushu'?
That's not
The khushu' only comes when you are in flow and you're focused. And then you get to experience it on a totally different dimension.
totally different experience to
Yeah.
pray, just to pray and pray when you're really like.
And that goes for everything. Like if you're in a conversation with someone.
I have a question that is, just came out. Because people that are more into faith, we can see it even in MMA, for example. You can see how we have these Dagestani fighters, Chechenian fighters, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam. All these fighters came and they're performing amazing. They're performing very well. And I think that the faith is playing a big role in this. How do you think that their faith is playing a role into how they perform?
Definitely. Because the thing, like you remember the stacking of interests, for me, the stacking of interests was like I was really into self-help, personal development, psychology, but I was also really into Islam. And then when I studied both, I found like where they crossed paths, and there's a big crossover in those paths. Like if you're faithful, you have that in Islam, you have it in all faiths. Then you have tawakkul, right? You know intuitively where your responsibility starts and ends and where you surrender. Like people lose a lot of energy in just making that distinction. People they lose energy in the effect side of things. Right? You have a cause, you have the effect. And people see themselves as responsible for both. And when the effect is not good, then they hold themselves responsible and they worry about it, they stress about it, they get into their head, and then they get out of flow. Right? But when you know where your spot is, you don't get out of the ring, so to speak. You stay in the ring. The ring is the cause side of things. It's your responsibility to plant the seed, your responsibility to water it, to find fertile ground for it, but you don't make it grow. You don't make it into a plant. You're not responsible for if it is going to bear fruit and the quality of the fruit. Of course, you can do things on the cause side to have that as good as possible, but at the end of the day, you don't have influence on the effect. You leave the effect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's inherent in religion, that you keep to your side. You keep to the cause side. And if you study the Quran, Allah never asks us for results. Never He says the ones that get the result. He always talks about the action. But you never know that an action will get you the result.
You don't know what result it would get you.
And you don't know what result. But if you're focused on action, if I plant a seed and I plant a seed and if I plant hundreds of seeds, then in the cause side of things, The Pareto principle says that 20% of those seeds will get me 80% somewhat of the result, right? But I don't control which seed will sprout and which seed will give me which result. I don't know that. It's not in my control. But if I worry about that, yeah, then I destroy the whole process.
You can see how it's powerful in sports because you basically just focus on the work.
Yes.
And then as soon as you get there, you just let it go. And that's going to allow you to be in that flow state that we spoke about.
Exactly. Do the work. If you just, your responsibility is do the work.
And it's also accepting loss in a way because most people, they will get in there and they wouldn't accept loss. And they would be like,
what
don't
is
want
loss?
to lose.
What is loss? Loss is the result.
It's the result.
Then
Exactly.
you worry about the result.
Exactly.
But that's not your responsibility.
Because it's even more dangerous to fight someone who doesn't care if they lose.
Of course.
Than to fight someone who cares so much that they're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And I think I had a straight experience with this. I've been winning. My last fight was my first loss in almost 12 years, 11 years. So all these years I've been winning, undefeated. And to be honest, I've never felt like, I never gave it so much. Like I liked it. It's cool to be undefeated. But I always knew like if I lose, I lose. And when I lost, it was the same feel. I felt almost the same as when I win. It was just the end of the fight.
Exactly.
I went to the hospital and I think I received 200 punches that fight, and my
and
face was opened up.
You receive those punches even if you win, right?
Exactly. I received them when I won as well. And it's not even that. It's also the state that I was in. I was not upset. I just felt like amazing. Alhamdulillah, it was meant to be. It happened. If it happened, it was meant to be because during the fight until the last bell, and I was losing the fight, and until the last bell, I never said, okay, maybe I'm losing. I didn't care. I'm like, I'm going to do my best until this fight ends. Maybe I would win because I had many other fights where I was losing and then I end up winning. And then I'm like, alhamdulillah, God help me. But the same way that God wants me to win all these years, why this guy, he's not able to win. And
exactly.
What's amazing, even his name was Islam. So I'm like, I look and I'm like, this is going to teach me a lot. This person is going to teach me a lot in my life.
So it's when you do the work, what do you become? You become prepared. And then somewhere an opportunity comes up, then you're prepared for the opportunity. And who said it? I think it was Les Brown. Les Brown, a motivational speaker, who said, it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Absolutely. So there's lots of opportunities everywhere, but just people aren't prepared for them. And I love to finish this thing up. There was an interview I heard from Tony Robbins about Nelson Mandela when he interviewed him. He asked him, what made you like follow through and have this big patience and holding on? And all that time that you were in prison, what made you not give up? What made you persevere? He says, he got a little bit angry with him. He says, I wasn't persevering. I wasn't holding on. I was preparing. It's a whole different ballgame. He was preparing. He said, I was preparing for two outcomes. Either one, I would die in there and become a martyr and an example to my people, or I would come out and then be a leader. So he got presented with the opportunity of being a leader, but he was prepared for it. What if he wasn't prepared? Would he be the inspirational leader we all know him to be? No. So what's your responsibility? Not the opportunity. You don't create the opportunity. Your responsibility is preparation. Do the work. Make sure you're prepared. You guys, you can be prepared, and the best podcast creators or video creators you can be, and then you will get people come do film with you, and if it's the best quality, they will come back, right? So you will have an opportunity. But if you're not prepared, and those same opportunities present themselves, then they will go somewhere else. So it's not about the opportunities, it's about how prepared are you.
I think the opportunities are always there.
Always there.
I think all opportunities always exist, and they always come to you, and you always take the ones that you're prepared enough for. And sometimes you may take ones that you're not prepared for, and you will end up wasting your time doing something that.
So a
It's
good
kind of
question to
balanced.
ask yourself, to check in with yourself every day, is what are you preparing for? So if you're having this doing nothing lifestyle, what are you preparing for?
Dying?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah. Most
It's
people waste
really
time
funny.
like consuming, going, sitting in cafes, drink. What are you preparing for? And if you look at it from the perspective of Islam, at the end, we are all Muslims, alhamdulillah, here. So at the end of our life, we die and then we'll be held accountable, right?
I guess we're all
So
prepared.
our whole life is a preparation for that. So what are you preparing for? Are you skipping prayers? Are you doing your prayers on time? Are you doing what the religion asks of you? If not, you're not preparing for that. What are you preparing for? There's something else that you're preparing for then. It's a good Umar alayhi salam, he said, حاسب نفسك قبل أن تحاسب. Like, account yourself before you're accounted for.
True,
Before
but
you're being held accountable.
it's pretty interesting because we're always preparing to die.
Yeah.
But in a way, we have to prepare for other things as well. We have to prepare for this purpose that we're looking for. We have to prepare for what our life brought us into, like what you have to live this life. So how can you always need to prepare for both in a way,
You have to be
because you
balanced.
never know when you're
Yeah.
you never know when you're gonna
You
die.
have to live for your world as if you're never going to die, and for your akhirah as if you will die today.
Die today.
So you have to have the balance of it. Prophet ﷺ said, if you have a seed and you hear the horn being blown of the last day, and you have a seed in your hand, plant it.
Wow.
So that means, what is the planting of the seed? It's a metaphor for always being in the call side of things, always be in doing the work. الذين يعملون الصالحات. It's always الذين آمنوا وعملوا. It's always عملوا. You always have to do.
Fantastic, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. I
Fantastic.
think we're over time.
Yeah, it's time to wrap it up, and we'll continue this podcast for the first time. We'll take cameras to follow us to the gym
Oh, nice.
and work out together,
Let's go.
and then we'll
Put some flow
put
state.
it all together. Let's go
Let's do
straight
it.
to the gym, guys.
Yeah.